The Midnight Caller? In the heart of a small town nestled between rolling hills and dense forests stood an old, creaking house, with a history as murky as the shadows that danced upon its walls. The locals whispered tales of the house being cursed, haunted by the souls of those who had met untimely ends within its walls. But among the many stories that circulated, one in particular sent shivers, of those who had met untimely ends within its walls. But among the many stories that circulated, one in particular sent shivers. The phone in the abandoned house would ring. The sound would pierce through the stillness of the night like a mournful cry, echoing through the empty rooms and chilling the blood of anyone who dared to listen. Some claimed to have heard whispers on the other end of the line, while others swore they heard nothing but the distant howling of the wind. Among the curious souls drawn to the mystery of the Midnight Caller was Emily, a young woman with a fascination for the paranormal. Ever since she was a child, Emily had been drawn to stories of ghosts and hauntings, her imagination fueled by late-night horror movies and ghost stories told around campfires. And when she heard about the legend of the Midnight Caller, she knew she had to investigate. With her camera and recording equipment in hand, Emily set out for the old house on the edge of town, determined to capture evidence of the supernatural phenomenon for herself. As she approached the decrepit building, she felt a chill run down her spine. But she pushed aside her fear and pressed on, her curiosity driving her forward. The door creaked open with a groan, revealing the darkness that lurked within. Emily hesitated for a moment, her heart pounding in her chest, before summoning the courage to step inside. The air was thick with dust and decay, and the floorboards creaked beneath her feet as she made her way through the abandoned rooms. Emily's pulse quickened as she reached the room where the phone was said to reside. She set up her equipment, her hands trembling with excitement and apprehension, and waited in the darkness for the clock to strike midnight. Time seemed to slow to a crawl as she listened, to the ticking of the clock, each second feeling like an eternity, and then, suddenly, it was midnight. The phone rang out in the darkness, its sound sending shivers down Emily's spine. With trembling hands, she reached out and picked up the receiver, her heart pounding in her chest. For a moment, there was nothing but silence on the other end of the line, and Emily felt a surge of disappointment wash over her. But then, just as she was about to hang up, she heard it. The faintest whisper, barely audible over the static. It sent a chill down her spine, raising the hairs on the back of her neck. She strained to make out the words, her breath in her throat as she listened intently. "Help me," the voice whispered, barely audible but filled with a desperate plea. Emily's blood ran cold as she realized the true horror of what she had stumbled upon. This wasn't just a legend or a ghost story. It was a cry for help from beyond the grave. With a newfound sense of urgency, Emily scrambled to pack up her equipment, her mind racing with fear and disbelief. She knew she had to get out of there, to escape the clutches of whatever dark force lingered within the walls of the old house. But as she turned to leave, she felt a presence looming behind her, a cold breath on the back of her neck that made her blood run cold. And then, with a sudden burst of terror, Emily felt herself being pulled back into the darkness, the phone slipping from her grasp as she was swallowed whole by the shadows. And as the clock struck midnight once more, the phone rang out in the darkness, its mournful cry echoing through the empty rooms and chilling the blood of anyone who dared to listen. For more scary odd horror stories, please subscribe us.